yes. Just coming to give you something else to think about. Yeah. Hello to the people. Where is you at? Where is the people? Something that makes you go, Things that make you go, who's really toxic? I've seen the word tossed around just as much as that word narcissistic, right? You see that word toxic being tossed around just as much as you hear that word narcissistic, right? A lot of people might not really be fully aware of all that is narcissistic and, of course, all that is toxic, right? And because you may not be aware, does that mean you aren't toxic? Or do toxic people always have to be aware that they're toxic? We got to talk about people who are unaware that they're toxic, y'all. And it's often people who are total, givers. They'll almost brag to you that they'll give somebody the shirt off their back, but, they never get that same treatment back. There are some in the society, y'all, that are toxic for reasons that you might be like, whoa, wow, really? Wow, that's interesting. You probably already knew that. But I think, when you talk about different relationships and maybe even cults and the different styles of cult leaders and heads of relationships, you begin to look and you begin to notice in some of these leaders, some of these house leaders, head of households maybe, they either like to be feared or they like to be loved or something like that. I think there seems to be a different tactic that certain people respond to. Being feared and being loved. But I wanted to talk about the possibility, y'all, of someone who is, actually toxic. But they are the ones doing all the trying to love. They are the ones really trying to go out of their way. 2 times over, 3 times over, 25, several times to really prove in some weird, twisted way that you are worthy of them. Like some people go extra hard, right? Relationships, cults, whatever you want to call it. And clearly no leader deserves it, right? No leader deserves it. See if I can put something on here. No leader deserves that kind of attention. No leader deserves that type of attention. But you're looking up to somebody, you're looking at somebody, you're depending on somebody to give you something back. Or you're not. The healthy relationship is a two-way street. And we've seen in looking at cults, especially this carbonation situation, it was a one-way street. Although it was all about the members fooling themselves into thinking that they matter more than they did. That was sick in and of itself. There's a toxic nature in certain people, y'all. And it's not just men. It's not just women. It may not just be college age. It may not just be anything like that. No matter your education. There are people, y'all, whose toxic nature shows because they're trying to love the unlovable out here. They're trying. Some dudes out here trying to love the unlovable. You hear it all the time if you listen to those videos on Soft White Underbelly. Dudes who are always trying to love the unlovable. This is not to say that every woman on a blade or on the strip doesn't want to be loved or is beyond any of that, but generally speaking, there are certain people who That's their business. That's not the love business, hoeing on the street. But some dudes get caught up. And even in strip clubs, some dudes get caught up. So the toxicity, y'all. And this is the toxicity that we can't lay blame on anyone else. We can't really lay blame on anyone else. This is why it's difficult when you really look at certain topics like battered wife syndrome or anything like that. It's very difficult. Very, very, very difficult. People who always want to go hard. Now, the issue is in this culture called the United Snakes, where you had a whole thing called slavery and even, segregation, all that kind of thing. You had a people who were going extra hard in many cases to prove that they're human, to prove that they deserve to be treated as human, to show that black life also matters. And they weren't really saying it, didn't have to say it. They went out there and showed it. They demanded it from their politicians. Something that's not done today. But anyway, the abuse is when you abuse yourself that way. And that's what sort of makes you vulnerable and easy prey for other people to abuse you. And that gets really dangerous. If you're just out here in your mind, just being a giving person, just, out the kindness of your heart, but there's a certain level that it becomes toxic. Y'all heard that before? What y'all think about that? There's a certain level that becomes toxic. Like if you find yourself being rejected by the same person, it becomes toxic, y'all. It's dangerous. What do y'all think? Behind the wheel. What do y'all think about that? Sometimes it's true, right? The toxic people are the ones who want to really love you, and you don't want, and they're being rejected, but they keep coming back. They keep being there. They're just there. Isn't that toxic though? Yeah, isn't that? Because what is that really saying? It's saying I'm okay with you not valuing me as much or even halfway as much as I value you. So whenever you're in a situation where you're agreeing to that in your actions, that's toxic. So what could possibly, that's toxic. And that's the danger of the nature of carbonation, because it was something you had to get up and leave. You had to go over there and chase carbonation. You had to go there and visit and live there and get rid of your stuff. You had to be a giver. You had to be a giver and not a taker. You gave your money to this cult leader. You gave your time and your attention even, and in many cases your spirit. You let them have it. But that's another nature of people sort of doing something that's toxic. The leaving, I mean, after the cult got to a certain point, right? It was clearly toxic nation, right? And people were still coming down there. Just like you hear all the time in the hood that some girls, some women love going towards the thug type of guy. A lot of women sort of gravitate to that which they think is strong on the surface, and a lot of them end up getting backsmacked and beat up in the process. But what do y'all think? But people who are doing the giving when there's so much rejection in the middle of it, when there's no two-way street coming right back at you, when there's no reciprocity day in and day out, when there's no real respect coming back, there's a toxicity that starts to brew and develop inside you too. Many people have probably done that. I think I may have done that at one point, right? Known that I was dating a young lady whose heart was probably cold. I knew I was in a situation like that, whose heart I knew was cold. She straight up told me that her heart was cold. I was like, oh, wow, okay. But maybe there was something toxic in me that said, you know what, let me try to melt that cold. Maybe that was toxic in me, but there was no constant rejection in the relationship, though. I don't, there's no constant rejection. There's just the major thing that she was already aware of, that she couldn't really have no serious relationship, and that was pretty obvious based on the past situations. So, have you all ever gotten into that situation where you were the one continuing to give and it was just not really giving back? That is sort of the nature of an abusive relationship, right? Even though he's not hitting, even though a situation where he may not be hitting on her, she is offering herself up. He cheats. He convinces her to stick around. He gives her an STD from some other cheating. She gets mad, but then he convinces her to say, there's no back and forth. It's just one way love and nothing in return. That person is also the toxic one. That person right there needs to be detoxified, needs to go through something because they keep giving to the unlovable. And ladies and gentlemen, when we think of cults like Carbonation and Nature Boy, many people say at some point that dude became unlovable, even probably when he's behind bars. Unlovable. He's probably like, fuck you, nigga. Why ain't you Muslim yet, bitch? And they're like, but you're behind bars. You got nothing. Some people have leaders and boyfriends, girlfriends who are just unlovable at the end of the day. Especially you see it when they go through hard times and they still don't respect what you give or what you offer or how you help them. There's no gratitude coming back to you when you keep giving to the unlovable. So the first thing y'all have to, in any situation, right? Relationship, business, girlfriend, boyfriend, somebody you want to like follow for real. You want to know if are they even lovable people when they get upset. Is it a lovable kind of thing how they handle being upset, or do they come attacking? Because some people deal with the abuse and they call it leading with love. Some people are willingly deal with abuse right now, y'all. And even in their mind, they're confusing it. They're calling it love just to stay. And that's where so much confusion happens in the mind. And then you have these different, abuse syndrome, battered wife syndrome, where you're just sort of stuck and frozen for a while in the middle of a cult. You don't know what to do. You see the cognitive dissonance. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, people are out here trying so hard to love the unlovable, to love those who can't give any love back, right? To love people who don't even know what love is. They argue about what love is. They try to give it different definitions for you. Ladies and gentlemen, beware out there. Beware out there. Some people, it's very sick sometimes, but some people go hard and they look for the unlovable sometimes. Some people get into relationships and they know they are with someone who is unlovable, but maybe because she's got such a fat ass, maybe she's got such big titties, maybe the way she give head is so amazing, people stick around and continue with the abuse, and they overlook what's going to destroy the relationship in the end. The fact that you ain't really a lovable person, right? I'm pretty sure that's what happened when you're dealing with many different relationships, but especially this cult, this carbonation situation. That dude behind bars, I mean, come on. There was a lot of unlovable aspects of that dude from what I'm hearing when they tell their stories of being there. And you saw it on camera. Unlovable at all. He was beside himself, making up all types of nonsense. And people followed. But people followed. And there was a lot of people who just wanted to love carbonation. Wanted to just give love and be the light. No matter what. Unconditional love from them, y'all. It was straight up unconditional on one side, and the other side was changing the conditions. The other side was creating even wilder conditions. The other side was destructive, while the only thing that was keeping the blood pumping was the blood of those who were giving and giving and giving of their time, of their mind, to someone that they thought was a leader or a head of a household. Goodness gracious. Beware, be careful, y'all. There are a lot of toxic people out here. And some of them actually have good intention. That's the dangerous part. Some of them actually have good intention. And it's like, whoa, is it too good? Is your intention too good? Like, wow. The whole idea that someone can have good intention, but also be very toxic in that same process. And you got to look out for that too. It's like looking out for somebody who gives you so many compliments. You're like, oh, wow, that feels good. Oh, thank you. You just said that 5 minutes ago, but thank you. I appreciate it. You probably tell that to everybody. No, it's just you. There's something about you. And there's people that will just tell you something good and pat you on the back and tell you exactly what you want to hear at every turn. Yes, men. Yes, women. Giving you all this love. You think it's love. Setting you up for some sort of fall. So be careful out here, y'all. Be careful, please, because again, there are people with good intention. To them, they have good heart. To them, the house is in the right place. You got the planets in the third eye, and you got so much fire, and you got a little bit of water, so that makes you peaceful, and you can flow with the flow, no matter what it is. You got people out here who try and go out of their way to love the unlovable. Sometimes for an opportunity, sometimes, right, for a role in a movie, you might do or love the unlovable. They might be so nasty looking, but you have to, for a temporary moment, some of y'all would just have no problems for the bag to love the unlovable. But outside of that, you do have people, men and women, who have a toxic trait. And that toxic trait is they go out of their way. They don't need you to give them back nothing. They don't need you to give back, right? They just want to volunteer everything, give you their stuff up front, just giving you stuff. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. You're not supposed to really look at it favorably in jail, so you shouldn't be looking at it too favorably in real life. People just giving you presents, giving you compliments. What y'all think, man? I just wanted to come out here. I don't know what happened to that damn light. I just wanted to come out here and break it down to you. I don't know what happened up out of here. But yeah, I just wanted to stop by. I'll just delete this. I'm about to get up out of here. I'll talk to y'all soon, all right? Yeah. Holla, holla.